Hi, it's Winton Churchill with the Barefoot Consultants, and I'd like to welcome you to our Facebook Friday as we get started here. Uh, having 5 steps laid out for you in terms of how to get your plan going to become an online freelancer is a very good thing to do. Having worked with people really over the last 20 years, helping them get started in freelancing, I know that there's some seeing uh, life erupts. They have the best of intentions to becoming a freelancer. They ultimately do uh, some of the work, make it part of the way there, and then something in their life intervenes. And so the first thing that uh, when people come into our programs, we help them with basically 5 different steps that help them get started with freelancing. And, um, just like putting the cart before the horse, if you get one out of sequence, it kind of can throw you off and mess up the whole thing and make it more likely that your efforts are going to not be productive. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to look at your skill sets. And this is very important. Most people think it's about their occupation. And if you go into one of these systems with your occupation, you're kind of getting in there with a blunt instrument and you're not likely to do very well. So let me differentiate between what an occupation is and what a dentist, an occupation of dentist might be, and how their skill set might be very different. So a dentist is somebody who has a business and a medical profession, and they provide a service. And people walk into their office, and the dentist works with their hands to deliver that service, and the team of people in the dental office works, to help facilitate that. And so that is an occupation. That's a dentist. But the dentist also has what we call domains of knowledge. They know a lot about health. They know a lot about dental care. They know a lot about healthcare in general, because basically every dentist goes through medical school and then specializes in dentistry. So they're doctors first and then dentists after that. They uh, understand how to advise a patient as dental situations change. They might advise a patient on recommendations of pros and cons of different procedures. Just now giving advice, you're not working as a dentist diagnosing or having a client patient relationship, but there's places that lots of people out there like to turn to just get sort of a different perspective on the advice they're getting. And that's one of the ways that many people, like medical professionals, are able to do this. And of course, in the freelancing networks that we suggest working on, everybody is bound by terms of service that says you're not creating a patient-client relationship. That's something that medical professionals and lawyers and psychologists worry about, because they're typically licensed to practice in a state. And the key thing is that you're not practicing. So really coming up with those domains of knowledge, and particularly the skills. But in addition to those domains of knowledge and skills, there are other skills the person has. They might be uh, a little league coach, or they might be good at fundraising for a volunteer organization, or they might have hobbies or interest that really have pulled them for a period of 10, 20, 30 years, maybe, uh, you know, deeply into a subject matter. Could be coin collecting. It could be archaeology. It could be anything that is of interest to them that they've spent time with over years or decades. And so fleshing out those skills first, and then number two, those domains of knowledge. And so those are the two things that, when combined, really give you the ability to go on to worldwide global networks with hundreds of thousands of jobs posted every day, and you know bid in essence on jobs like proofreading, make a PowerPoint presentation, provide advice, give a perspective, be a sounding board. These are all the kind of things that people do online, and they do it anywhere from by the hour to by the year or more. The great thing about being a freelancer is that uh, when you work on these networks, most people that are hiring you are looking for somebody that they can work with on an ongoing basis as a freelancer. And as their business heads, can go back and freelancer in for a month or two or three, whatever it is, and then let them go. And that freelancer goes off and works in other organizations doing much of the same thing, but then comes back periodically in those peak demand periods to help with that. But the important thing is, you will earn more money if the service you're delivering uh, depends on and comes from your decades of experience and knowledge. So very important. The next thing we like to focus on is your profile, because all of these networks require that you produce a profile. And most people go zooming off in the direction of, well, I'll just cut and paste my resume in there. How hard can this be? And what they don't realize is that your profile document is a selling document. It sells you. And the good news is, most of us don't like selling ourselves, is that with a profile document, you're able to uh, put basically that sales information into one place and have people read that over and over again, so you're not having to explain who you are and what you do and how you got there and all those other kinds of things, all those things that are awkward for, I would say, certainly 98% of the population to discuss. And this profile document is going to do that selling for you. And most people come up with a profile document that said, I did this, I did that. And that's the kiss of death for a profile document. It sounds like you're bragging. It sounds egocentric. And the person reading your profile wants to know what you can do for them rather than what you did. And so, just to put a finer point on that, uh, if you say, I did proofreading for a newspaper company, that is the I did statement, and that's all about you and your relationship to the newspaper company, but mostly about you. If you turn that sentence around and take the I out of it, you can say something like, my 12 years at a major city newspaper heading the proofreading and editing department means you'll have a freelance professional that has experience working in demanding, deadline driven work. And so you're still saying that you were a proofreader in a major organization, but you're adding to that how that benefits the client by saying, and that means you'll get the same attention to detail and deadlines as I shared in my work at the newspaper. So this is saying that more than you're just a proofreader, it's saying that you recognize that deadlines are important. You recognize that you'll often be working under pressure. Not every job is under pressure, but that newspaper job was certainly under pressure. And that's the great thing about a lot of proofreading and editing jobs on these networks is, you get a week or 10 days to complete the assignment. You basically set the schedule. The client tells you when you want it. And if that's within a reasonable time, then you do it. And if you say that you're not, then you have a conversation or negotiation. And Marianne, good to see you, Marianne. And tapping into that point of repeatedly having to sell. This is something that, frankly, we don't like to do. We have good skills, and we always talk about your light, your candle is covered by a bushel basket a lot of times, and so it is worth going through a fairly structured process to create that profile to make sure your light is not hiding under that basket. Very important thing. So that's appreciate you making that point, Marianne. That's good for us all to focus on. And so once you get your profile done correctly, typically the freelance buyer, when they look at your profile, they are going to then look at what's called your portfolio. And your portfolio is simply the place where you drop examples of previous work that you've done, so that the potential buyer, can see examples of your writing, how you would edit a document, examples if you're doing voiceover work, which is popular with some of our members, a sound recording of your voice, all kinds of things show your potential client what your skill set is. Written an article for a church newsletter, done fundraising and written a fundraising letter. All these kind of things become examples of your work. If you're an artist, examples of your art. If you're a photographer, different variety of examples of your photography. So all these things count when you get to your portfolio. And so that's a very important aspect of sort of putting your kit together, so you can be online and ready to go. And if you don't do one of these things, or it's incomplete or not very well done, a sophisticated buyer is looking at that, and you want to work with sophisticated buyers, is going to look at that and say, I don't think so. They're going to move on to the next person. Now, one of the things that often comes up when we talk about this issue of the portfolio, the examples of your work, people say, well, gee, I work for a government contractor, and it would be violation of my employment agreement or copyright agreement or security agreements or whatever it might be, trademark agreements, process agreements. I can't share that information. And I'll use the example of writers that come onto these systems and might say the same thing. And the point is, the person looking at your profile and then looking at your portfolio wants to see an example of your writing style. They don't care whether it's published or not. The other thing is that they just want to see a sample of it. They don't want you to throw them even 10 pages to read. They want to see 1 to 2 written pages that would be an example of your writing style. And one of the things that happens, and we counsel people against, especially in the technical writing area, a lot of times the person has worked on a 70 to 100 page manual. And when you drop that 70 to 100 page manual into your portfolio, what you're doing is you're setting up an expectation that your potential freelance buyer has to read through that entire document in order to evaluate, are you a good enough writer for them? And that's why what I learned very early on is that they want to see 1 or 2 pages that you excerpt from that. Maybe one would be sort of a broad explanation of a point. Another one might be a step-by-step doing something in a technical manual. Another one might be a listing of other resources and how to access them, that kind of thing. So you want to show diversity in those page or two, but you don't want to give them the kitchen sink because they can read 2 pages in a matter of a minute or two and get an idea of your writing style. So when somebody has come along and says, I want to do writing, and this is very common, people in my industry have always said I've written very well. I've always writing up helping to write brochures for conferences and writing internal memos and that sort of thing. And that person can move into writing very quickly and efficiently. And I suggest that they go out and write 2 or 3 articles that are anywhere from 300 to 500 words in length. Might take uh, mm, 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours, something like that, to create these examples of your writing. And you write on a topic that is of interest to you. And so that way you're going at it with an area that you understand. You're coming up with an article that's interesting to you, and it typically probably taps into some of your domains of interest. And so you're likely to be going after jobs that are in the field of the articles that you're writing. So this is a great way to flesh out your portfolio. There are other things you can do with things like spreadsheets, PowerPoint presentations. You can give examples of ones you've done in the past. You can sanitize them, meaning that you take out any proprietary information or numbers or that kind of thing that connects that to maybe the organization where you're not allowed to disseminate stuff. And you can create examples of that. And if you worked for a defense contractor, that you were making PowerPoints all the time, you create a PowerPoint, a 5-slide PowerPoint about an explanation about how your lawnmower works or something that is not going to get you in trouble or related to the work that you do. So lots of ways to create profiles. And then the fifth thing is that you can actually go through and learn in our world, our bidding process. We have a 7-step formula for putting together a proposal. When you see a job that's of interest to you and there's an intersection between your skills and domain of knowledge, those are the ones to jump on. Those are the ones where you're uniquely qualified out of all the people on the planet. And proposals, thankfully, are 150 to 250 words typically. Some go to 300 words, a little bit extra space, but they're very, in some respects, formulaic. There's certain things that you want to do in every single proposal. And then there are other things that are very customized. And one of the things we do in our program is teach people how to customize those proposals. If they look like a cut and paste job, again, the buyer's going to reject your proposal. If you tune certain aspects of your response to that overall job assignment, you're going to come up with a proposal that doesn't take very long to customize, but it does get you the feel of communicating directly with that freelance buyer. And that's what's so important. That buyer needs to feel a connection with you and the work that you propose doing for them to make you the best candidate, the one they want to select for that. So the things that you want to go for are getting a comprehensive list of your skills. That's kind of step one. The next part of that is getting a comprehensive list of your domains of knowledge, not just say the industry that you work in. That's one of them. The job that you do within that industry. There's things about the job you do. And then there are things that come from your personal life, your personal interests, that kind of thing. All of those things usually produce domains of knowledge, and they could produce uh, uh, domains of logic. And I'm just getting a request here to include. We have a conference coming up in St. Louis here this next in April, end of April, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We used to do these once a year where we get everybody together in a big classroom, socially distanced, and we take everybody through the whole enchilada there. So let me get my StreamYard page up here, and I will put in it's the April Fund Your Freedom. There we go. Okay, it's just propagating out there. So look in the chat window, and you should see that there. And so yes, at this event and through this training event, we're going to be going through all these. The people that have joined up will be coming, and we'll be working with them a little bit before the conference on April 22nd begins. On April 22nd through the 24th, will we be working with Eddie to go through the skills analysis, get their their domains of interest established, get their profile put together and write their overview, get that uploaded on a network, teach them how to create those documents that will flesh out their profile. And then we'll teach them our proposal strategy. And after the conference, because one of the things that always irritated me after I go to a conference or a seminar on something is that what if I have a question? And what I know is I have a question and most everybody else has a question. And so we have 3 follow-up sessions after the Friday, Saturday, Sunday to answer any questions. I have got proposals because once it's the end of Sunday, you're ready for putting proposals to jobs you want to do. And then invariably we find that people have additional questions about how to, the person asking for this and I want to deliver that. How do we reconcile that? How do we deal with different situations and that kind of thing? And I want to say hi to Bob Herb from coming in today. Good to see you, Bob. As always, Bob's a photographer, underwater photographer, and beautiful stuff on his website. And Bob, if you want to find some of that link so they can see that, I guess maybe your Facebook would be great, because I just saw a picture of some brain course you put up there that was fabulous. And these are, pretty much anybody with a camera and a skill set, and Bob has a amazing skill set, and you can see it there in the chat. You can go to his website and see some of the stuff that he's created, and great freelancing material, taking skills you already have and developed over time, turning those into amazing art. I'm imagining into photo libraries for being used as photos that you can use in your own stuff you can buy. We subscribe to a number of these software. When we need a photo of somebody sitting at the top, we have a bunch of those from our workshops and that kind of thing, but we might want to get one that's under a palm tree or at sunset or something like that. So we turn to these large photo libraries, and that's where somebody like Bob can deposit their photographic work and have it licensed out to be used on different websites. And just a great skill set that Bob has. He and I used to work together many years ago. I guess, let's see, was it? It's probably 25 years ago, maybe 30 years ago, and so lots of good stuff there. So very good. And and so in that proposing process, you're going to have questions, and we have uh, 3 follow-up sessions over the next month to help you uh, in those questions. Let's see. I'm getting the conference link did not show up. All right, let me pop there again. One time. Sometimes these we're broadcasting on 3 systems. We're broadcasting on our public Facebook page and our private Facebook page, and we're also on a YouTube channel. So if you are, let's see, just let me know if you can see that, and I will. Yeah, it looks like it's not going to one of the pages for some reason. So what I can do is after this broadcast, I'll go ahead and put it in. It'll be included so you can see it. So that's pretty much what I wanted to cover today. Those are the 5 steps. They're all pretty simple. We're going to pack them all into a weekend in St. Louis here. And if you can follow the link, let me see if I can get another link that. There's a way I can do that. Sometimes Facebook doesn't like those bit.ly links, which are a little lengthy, or a little too short, and so we'll get the other one here. This will be. We'll see if this will make it through. Here we go. This is the International Living website that has that on it. So you can take a look there. And yeah, several different ways. Yeah, it's interesting. Our Facebook group doesn't seem to be receiving this. So let's see. I'll see if I can look in the group and add it to the live conference in there right after we're done. So happy to answer any questions you might have. Even if you're listening on the replay, about 95% of the people that listen to this listen to the replay, and we're always happy to have you here, and always happy to answer any questions you might have in the chat and that sort of thing. Yeah, happy to take any questions you might have. It's certainly with a distressing day with the Ukraine situation going on, but I was just watching a newscast before I jumped on here, and it looks like there's a few prospects anyway for an early settlement of that. And generally what I like about what's going on, I just got back from Las Vegas, the first International Living Conference, live International Living Conference, in-person International Living Conference over 2 years, I guess, and had a great time, and it was wonderful to be out. And I had my mask on and was teaching our first workshop on the first day, and all the rules are set by the Nevada State Health Department. And they came in the first day and said that because speakers were socially distanced in the room setups, they didn't have to wear a mask. So that was the first time I didn't have to wear a mask in quite a while. And then just a day or two after we left, they dropped the mask requirement in the casino and in conference areas and that kind of thing. So we're seeing sort of some of those mandates come down and things moving back in the direction of normal. But I think most people I know think we're moving to a new normal, as do I. And it's going to have a few things that we were not used to doing before the lockdown, but now we're all it will be doing a lot less and feel a lot more like we're getting closer to normal. So it's good to be out. The plane I flew on both ways was packed, and it felt like we're back again, and it was just quite the energizing experience. I really appreciate the opportunity to be out in front of people and having conversations and that kind of thing, rather than over our virtual systems here. Where I am right now, we're having some freezing temperatures and a little bit of snow, a little bit of ice. And for some, the picture might be a little bit jerky because of the way the network slows down when they drop a few cables and they ice up and that kind of thing. So that's kind of what's going on today. So we'll look forward to seeing you on our Tuesday night call for all our members, and next Friday for our Facebook Friday. And I'll be doing a few Facebook Lives over on the International Living website. And as we sign off here, I'm going right over to our group page, and I'll drop the information there in on the conference. So have a great weekend. Look forward to seeing you next week, and enjoy. Take care.